Now that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is exiting theaters and is a thing of the past by Disney and Lucasfilm, a lot of fans have been looking forward to the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, by far, one of the most emotional moments in Episode 9, without a doubt, is the death of Ben Solo and the Reylo moment, quote-unquote, between both Rey and Ben inside of the world of Exegol within Palpatine's throne room. Now, the one part of Episode 9 that left a lot of fans very emotional was the fact that both Leia and Ben Solo seemed to vanish at the same exact time, and Ben Solo's true fate is left very ambiguous. A lot of fans have been wondering exactly what happened to Ben Solo. Did he become a Force ghost? Is he something else? What's the deal? Now, we do know that this movie went through a lot of changes during the months of August, September, and October back in late 2019 because of the reshoots and the rewrites, and that a lot of the scenes that George Lucas actually wrote and directed for this movie were deleted from Episode 9 or canceled for the scenes that were only midway through production. So the one sequence that really does stand out to me the most is, of course, one of the Ben Solo death scenes that were actually going to be a part of the initial cut of Episode 9. We're talking about the cut before the final version of this movie by Disney and Lucasfilm, and it is somewhat different and somewhat similar in a sense, where you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Now, the one thing that really does stand out to me the most is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with the sequel trilogy and are focused on the future of Star Wars as a franchise, many fans are very interested in the new Star Wars universe to see where it's going to go by Disney and Lucasfilm. However, many fans are also wanting to know what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of the film took place back in late 2019. One of the big changes of the film had to do with the scene that was directed by George Lucas that involved the death of Ben Solo. One of the scenes that were deleted involved the 2-on-1 lightsaber duel in the film between Rey, Ben Solo, and Palpatine, where George Lucas directed the scene. It's explained that the original death of Ben Solo by George Lucas involved the sequence in which Ben Solo would use the Skywalker lightsaber against Palpatine's spirit inside of the Dark Acolyte character, where Ben Solo would fight Palpatine inside of his throne room. One of the scenes involved a moment in which a redeemed Ben Solo would eventually strike down the Dark Acolyte, where the spirit of Sidious would eventually enter Ben Solo's body and take control of his motor functions, where Ben Solo would beg Rey to kill him by picking up the Skywalker lightsaber and impaling it into his chest. Now, it's described that once this happened, Palpatine's spirit was released as the Force Ghost dragged it into the netherworld of the Force, killing his spirit once and for all, where this time Rey would actually try to heal Ben Solo, but it wouldn't be enough as Palpatine's spirit took away too much of his life force to be saved, where the saber wound from, of course, Rey eventually causes Ben Solo to die, as Ben this time was the one to kiss Rey for the first time, while hugging her only for his time to die. However, Ben Solo did not vanish like how he did in the final cut of the movie, and his body remained where Rey would actually place and leave Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber behind with Ben Solo. So the thing that seems so magical about this is that this was going to be a moment in which we had the Force ghosts of the past destroying Palpatine's spirit once and for all after it exits Ben Solo's body, where Rey stabs Ben Solo through the chest by use of Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. Now, in a way, Rey does honor the Skywalker saber in a similar fashion to how she honors it at the very end of Episode 9, where she places it next to Ben Solo's body here, kind of like, burying it in the past in a different way, where in the final cut she actually literally buries it underneath the sands of Tatooine. Now, the thing that really gets me about this is that instead of Rey being the one to initiate the kiss, this time it was Ben Solo initiating the kiss at the very end of Episode 9. So Ben Solo's original death by George Lucas, like I say, this time around, I think it makes more sense, to be honest. I think not only does it seem a little bit more emotional because of how Rey was the one to kill Ben Solo and how Ben Solo begs her to do so, it's almost like a tragedy, right? That he's overcome by this evil of Palpatine's spirit and he begs Rey to kill him in order to release the spirit from his body. So that to me, it sounds like it would have dived more into the Star Wars lore, everything that has to do with the Force Ghosts, and everything related to the Skywalkers. And the thing that gets me though is that Ben Solo's body in this version was not going to vanish. Kind of like how Qui-Gon Jinn's body did not vanish in The Phantom Menace. Seems like that George Lucas had the same exact idea going for Qui-Gon's death. So, with that being said, it seems like in either case, Ben Solo's death or his true fate was going to be left ambiguous as to, whether or not he would transfer as a Force Ghost immediately right then and there. Even though in the second cut of the movie before the final cut, there were Force Ghost sequences of Ben Solo, but they decided to keep it very vague and ambiguous. Before that, of course, a lot of fans wanted to see exactly what a Force Ghost of Ben Solo would have been like. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.